Compartir nuestras experiencias, conectar con la gente y saborear la diversa comida es nuestro orgullo. Estas son las muchas voces de un pueblo.
Exercise is something that we all need for our well-being. However, sometimes it's hard to find that motivation or something that we truly enjoy doing. Well, we're here at Exercise in Disguise Fitness, where owner Jade Rivera McFarland offers some unconventional and fun ways to help you get and stay on track to that path of healthiness. Jade, I think one of the really interesting things about you is that this isn't your job full-time. You have a different career.
My first job or career would be in mass communications or public relations. I started off years ago as a reporter for an NBC affiliate here in the city and went on to kind of move out of that, and that's when I decided to become a fitness instructor and own my own business.
And what was it that initially sparked your interest in fitness?
Well, I was a cheerleader and dancer, so I always loved to be active, and it was more in a sense of having a good time, not like lifting weights or anything like that. And when I was a reporter, it's a really demanding job. I mean, you know, you're all over the place ripping and running, and my health wasn't where it was supposed to be. So I decided to, leave the field and really focus on my health and my wellness, and that's when I decided to open up the fitness center and focus on, not only my fitness, but also the fitness and health of the people in my community.
Is there a way that your career and your background in PR and marketing has helped you with this business?
When I first left television and PR and marketing, I didn't think I would use it as much as I actually do. But I would actually be invited to do interviews, and it was already there. I didn't have to practice or be nervous about going on TV. When it came to using social media, I never really printed flyers. I did everything digitally and really used that type of media to get everything out. So it really came in handy working in front of a large group of people. At one time, I did it like they tried to break the record for the largest number of people in a Zumba class, and I was standing in front of a lot of people, and thank goodness, because I understand how to use a mic and do all that. So it definitely comes in handy.
I know that you first started off with Zumba, which is really interesting, but then you kind of got into this unconventional aerial and bungee. How did that happen?
Well, of course, when Zumba first came out, a lot of people liked it because it was kind of like just going to the nightclub, dancing, sweating, having a good time with your friends. So a lot of people refer to it as exercise in disguise. And that always kind of stayed in the back of my mind, and that's why I love Zumba. And, after a while, I started reaching out and trying different formats of fitness and trying, this or that, and noticed that I was really attracted to that type of fitness that I was not, feeling like I was working out. And I had saw a video online of someone doing aerial yoga or aerial fitness, and I was like, oh my goodness. It's a little bit of the cheerleading, a little bit of dancing, and a whole lot of upper body and a great workout. And that's how I led to that. And of course, someone else sent me or tagged me in something on Facebook and said, you will love this workout. It's definitely exercise in disguise. And that's how I was introduced to bungee. It started off in Thailand. So I saw that, and I looked everywhere for it for almost a year, and it was nowhere. So when I found it close to home, I went out to Vegas and jumped on it right away to get certified.
And you have a lot of other things that you offer here too. So tell me a little bit about those. Which one is your favorite and why?
All of them I would say are my favorites, but I think the one that really touches my heart is my Double Dutch class. Mm-hmm. Double Dutch Fitness is a class that I created. I used to be a competitive Double Dutcher when I was in high school. And it was so much fun. We did competitions out in Boston, Connecticut, New York. And it was, I kind of went from the world of jumping, on the street or out in the park when I was a kid in the North End to really kind of focusing in on this world of jump rope and double dutch that was like vast and I knew nothing about. So I introduced that here, and there's people who have never jumped before, and I'm actually able to break it down and teach them to start with a bunny hop, teach them how to jump in. And the best part about it is you'll be in here, and then sometimes you kind of go back and you feel like you're with your girls hanging out playing double dutch in middle school, and I think that's probably one of my favorite ones.
You were telling me that it's been about 10 years that you've been doing this. Why is it so important for you to bring this to the inner city?
Well, I am a Springfield girl, Springfield, Massachusetts, born and bred, and I'm from the north end of the city. So, we have our parks there and that, but there's a lot of different stuff, like we play basketball, you play football. There's stuff that we grew up knowing about. And I think if I was introduced to some of these things like aerial, LSU or Louisiana State University actually has an aerial theater arts program. So a kid could learn how to do this, go down there and have a scholarship and use this. There's places in Orlando that you can get hired to do this. You can work at Disney. You can be in Cirque du Soleil. And I feel like there's so many opportunities that the children in our area, they don't know about. because I feel like if I would have known about it, I would have jumped right on it. So it's important to me to bring it to the city, not only for the adults, but for the next generation that gets to see like, oh wow, and they see it on the internet, but now they can come try it right here in their city. I've had a lot of people from Connecticut and Boston and even as far up as like Vermont coming down to try and saying, we can't find it anywhere. And I'm like, that's right, it's here in Springfield.
That's amazing that it's like one of a kind right here that the kids can come. And I know you even have a kids aerial class. How old and like what's the age range for that, and how's the response been for that class?
We've had a couple of the aerial kids classes and the response was really great. We kind of do some of the stuff that we do in the adult class, of course, but then we mix in like with games like playing Hungry Hungry Hippos with baskets and balls and stuff like that. And they really enjoyed it. So I'm looking, that's usually about a 7 to 14 age range, but I've done a class with it's like a mom and me, so the babies love it. My cousin came in with his daughter, and she was 3 months. He put her in, and then we just rocked her, and she literally like 5 seconds was asleep. So it's very comfortable no matter what the age you are. It's like, 3 months up until like, in your 60s, 70s, 80s. It's really cool to be able to do aerial and all of that.
Absolutely. And what is one of your most rewarding things about helping people with fitness?
I think my most rewarding thing is seeing their results. Not only like physical, like I'm losing weight results, but especially with aerial and bungee, you start getting stronger and your tricks, like I always say, everybody has a toolbox. And maybe when you start, you have a couple little tricks in your toolbox. And as you go on, you build strength, you build confidence. You're on an apparatus that I always say, you just met this apparatus. So you're like, I'm hesitant. As you teach, you end up having, you take more classes, you get more comfortable, and you get more tools in your toolbox. So seeing people come in and start off maybe not being able to do too much, and then, gaining their fitness, gaining their confidence, and then seeing them like go, woo, I got it. That, I think, to me, is one of the best things about teaching, especially this type of fitness.
Do you have any specific plans for the future? How do you want to see this business grow?
I mean, it would be awesome to have like some franchises, but I think mainly my first step would be to continue doing what I'm doing, introducing different types of fitness here in the city, and then maybe getting a bigger space with, I would say, higher ceilings. Because when it comes to bungee and aerial, I actually train other places and they have like 20-foot high ceilings, and you can drop and roll and do all this crazy stuff. So it opens up, what you can really do when it comes to circ and aerial. So I think that would be just me continuing to work hard, introducing this type of fitness into the population in the area, and then maybe expanding to a larger space with taller ceilings.
Well, now that we heard all about this, let's go fly.
Nice and tight. So it's up to you. You can either walk it out again or you can take it. I like to let people make their own because you want to make sure you're comfortable, right? So she feels comfortable doing her walk down. I believe in you. You got this. Woo! Nice. So you open all the way up. Beautiful. Now to come down, slide yourself back down, and you'll come right back inside. That was cool.
It was so much fun. Thank you so much for having us. And enjoy more en presencia.